And this is what we should understand. The consumer grows faster than the marketing responses. By the time boardrooms are realizing we need to be on TikTok so that we can catch Hamwaka, Hamwaka would have moved on to something else totally. Yeah. And this is just where the problem is. So when you ask me and say, how has marketing changed? Or maybe how has Zambia changed in terms of the marketing landscape? People are more daring. They are more receptive to digital channels such that their minds are no longer thinking Zambia, they're thinking global. So you serve a Zambian person here, you would have served the global space as well. Marketing people need to just adjust at the same level that their consumers are adjusting.
What does it take to build trust with your audience or customers?
A lot. But one of the main things I've noticed is be vulnerable with your customers. Yeah. To be vulnerable doesn't mean you show your weaknesses without intent. Show your weaknesses, but you have a goal in the end.
I noticed that you talk a lot about Tamanga Culture. So now, what inspired you to write about Tamanga Culture?
We're always tamangaling in Zambia, and it is a culture. 80% of Zambian businesses are SMEs. When you explain what an SME is, it's just a hustler. Who's a hustler? He's a tamanga in our community. I wanted to speak to somebody in such a way that is very relatable. That's what inspires me to write about Tamanga Culture.
A customer complaint is never an attack.
No, it's not. And I feel like marketers, sometimes we are terrible at receiving feedback because in our own little spaces, on our own little desks, we came up with a 100% perfect campaign. And then you test it out in the real world and just realize, okay, this was good according to me, but not according to the customer. So if I complain, you haven't seen eating places in Zambia. If you just complain and say, I want a thick milkshake, tell them I want a thick milkshake. They bring you a light milkshake. They go back irritated. It's my money. Sorry. And it's my preference. If I said I wanted a thick milkshake and you're not able to, you should have said, no, madam, we're not able to. I would have changed my mind. But for you to take it like it's an attack on your service, that is wrong. Those are the businesses that don't do so well.
Quick one, before we go any further, please remember to like and to subscribe and to share. And I promise to bring you the best and most valuable content. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you.
I'm happy to be here. It's great to always have conversations that are close to the heart, close to the mind, that are just not so stuffy.
Yeah, I've really been impressed by your work. I've been following you for a while now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Why I'm impressed is because for me, it's just an outlet. Just to speak, air my mind, then I feel happy. Yeah, to see that somebody appreciates the content is flattering. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. One of the question I'm going to ask is like, why are you doing it? I mean, you have a job and whatnot. So like, there's no reason for you to do it, but then we'll dive into that later.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like to go back where I first met someone or came across somebody's work. Okay. And of course it's through LinkedIn. I think we connected on LinkedIn, of course. And I just saw your content, your writing, especially your videos, like you're so precise, you're very articulate. Like, you don't like dilly-dally to just get to the point.
Just say something the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Which means you've mastered your craft.
No, which means I'm constantly learning. I'm comfortable and happy to be learning.
Yeah. No, sounds good. So just to take it back now, I like to go back, the background, like where somebody came from, because that shapes the person that you are today, your influences, places that you went to. So how was it like growing up? What were your interests?
I liked to talk a lot and I liked to read a lot. I still do like to read a lot. Talk a lot because I'm the firstborn. We were talking offline. I'm the firstborn of 6 children and I am female. And I'm the shortest in my family. So you talk a lot just to assert yourself in the space. Like, even if I'm short, I'm your big sister type of thing. So I like to talk a lot. I like to read a lot because, again, reading just was my comfort space. I haven't had a very comfortable childhood. And then because I talk a lot, in African homes, a lady that talks a lot is frowned upon usually. So I feel like if I read, at least I go away and I let go of all these expectations, all these, she shouldn't be doing this, she shouldn't be saying that type of thing. So growing up, I've always loved to talk, interact, chat with people, but also to read. I like that. Just those two. Yeah.
So that you're saying was it like an outlet?
It was an outlet because I think a lot. So I often think if you're a thinker, you have to read because you want to interact with what is another person thinking about. So it's always been like that. Yes, it's an outlet for me to just let go of all these things and just go away in another world. I like it, and I have replicated now. My firstborn daughter loves to read. So annoying that when she should be studying, she gets this book, and you're like, she's just there. Olivia, she's Olivia. Olivia, what are you studying?
Yeah.
I am studying, and I can tell it's a novel. So that's the only thing I wish I didn't do. But anyway, yeah, it's an outlet.
Oh, you see, encourage her?
Yes, I do encourage her, and I think it's my fault. Our first date,
It's my fault.
I always get her books. I always get her stuff to read. So it's natural that she's falling into that. But for me, it's an outlet. Yeah.
Did you get that from somebody or?
My neighbor. I grew up on the Copper Belt. I was born on the Copper Belt. And my Copper, yes. And our neighbor, Auntie Bridget, used to like reading a lot. And every time I would visit her, I would always see like a bookshelf with stuff on there. And I would always get curious. You go there and you want to check what's there. And she gave me books. I remember she gave me 3 books. I'll never forget, one of them was Snow White. And I got so impressed. I was like, okay, so people can actually just have whole books. So since then, that's when it started. She would always come to my house and, I even pushed a book. You know?
Really?
Yes. Yeah. She was a very kind woman. She's passed on long now. Yeah. But she's a very cool woman. Yeah. Was a cool woman. So that's where I got it from.
So do you think you're an introvert or?
I'm an ambivert. I like to talk to people, interact and whatnot. But I like to step back and find myself. This week, I took a day off. Yeah. In the middle of the week, I just said, I'm taking a day off and I'm going and I'm being alone. So I waited, the hubby went, I waited for the kids to go. And I just spend time with myself. I never get bored with myself. So I'm an ambivert. I like people, but I like to retreat and be myself.
So like when you interact with people a lot, you need to go back like...
I just have to. I just feel like I feel drained. Yeah. Yes. One of my friends was saying, how did you end up in marketing? I also don't know. No, but I do know, but like I didn't think that it would be... I think this is where we get it wrong. We seem to think a marketer should always be this extrovert. Yeah. No, a marketer just needs... No. A marketer just needs to know what Hamwaka thinks, or what at least close to what Hamwaka thinks and what Hamwaka would like. You don't have to be an introvert or an extrovert to do that. You just have to have a real care for people. That's all.
I like how you simplify marketing.
Because it is that simple. Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, of course, you went through school and whatnot. What happened after that?
So I went through school. I didn't have the easiest of academic journeys. I went to a government school. And in a government school, I wasn't always this well-spoken. I used to speak a lot of Bemba. My thoughts are always in Bemba or Nyanja.
Really?
Yes, they're always just like that, you know. And I would struggle to translate. And so when I was in grade 7, I passed and went to St. Mary's. I was at Northmead Basic School. I passed and I went to St. Mary's. And there I got opened up to so many other people. These smart little chaps, they come from bougie homes. And here's Ivy with her loud mouth, speaks a lot of Bemba or Nyanja, and I literally have to switch in my head to speak English. But I pushed, made sure that, because my dad always used to tell me, if you fail at St. Mary, we're taking you nowhere else, you're going to be home, and all these things, because my dad was the typical parent. He wanted his children he's an accountant, either do accounts, you do that whole medicine thing. If it's not medicine, you have to find some other impressive career. Lawyer, yes. Economist. So I had a tough journey academically, but I don't know what happened in grade 9. Something switched and I started just doing good. So anyway, ended up staying at St. Mary's up until I was in grade 12. Met some of the best colleagues there, some of whom I'm still in contact with right now. And that was me. So in grade 12, after I got my results, I got about 12 points. I applied to UNZA because I wanted to do law. Remember I said I read a lot. Yeah. So I got introduced to John Grisham and I loved how he does his books and everything. I said, this is me. Yeah. I'm going to do law. I went, applied. I wasn't accepted because those were not the best points at that time. I got frustrated. Now, I'm one person who, yes, something happens, but okay, so then what? We cry an hour, 2. Let's move on. So I was like, okay, I'll go to CBU. I think I'll try out this whole marketing thing. Went to CBU, had a stint there. I failed. Why? Mathematics was my problem because I'm not into numbers. So after doing that, my dad just got irritated with me. now I have to pay school fees for them, and it wasn't just the best. But one thing I realized is I was good at talking a lot, and I can sell you anything. Like I can just sell anything. Then I realized, okay, so if this man won't pay for my school fees, we'll do the side hustle. I started doing a side hustle. I would sell cakes. I would go to Kamwala and sell stuff. I got enough money and went to Zamim, because after Copperbelt we came back to Lusaka. I went to Zamim, started doing CIM, Chartered Institute of Marketing. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I was like, wow, okay, this is good. So because of my talking a lot at school, the principal then calls me after I'd finished. And then he calls me and says, Ivy, they're looking for a marketing officer. Would you like to do it? So I was like, yeah, of course I would like to do it. And that's how my journey started. I just started out as the marketing officer, and I haven't looked back since then.
What an incredible journey. I'm sure you were pressured a lot because you're the firstborn and...
Lots of pressure. And African homes, I can't say we should change because maybe that's who we are. But I was under a lot of pressure because my siblings are smart. Need to just 6 points, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they are very smart kids. And then here's Ivy.
Struggling to
yes, Ivy just either talks a lot or reads a lot, struggling to make points. But we're different. We're very different. And I slowly started being comfortable in who I am. Anytime I'm in a space, if I notice, okay, this table doesn't work for me, I create my own. If I can't create my own, I just continue to live my life and offer my opinions, and that's Ivy. Kind
of went through the similar situation of like accepting like what you want and what you don't want to be involved with. For me, it was whatever I don't like, I have to accept to say, okay, maybe there's a better way or an alternative to this. So I think I've lived with that to accept, okay, if I find myself in an environment, maybe I'm not performing as good as other people. Sometimes it just means maybe you don't belong to that environment.
You just don't.
There's something out there for you. And I also dislike this thing of our parents of pushing you like all of us in one direction. You have to be a lawyer. You have to be an accountant. Like, what if you're not good at any of those?
And that's the thing.
And then you're good in another area.
Yes, that's where I found myself. Because my dad would literally tell me, if you have a book, if you know, because for him, numbers is what makes sense. But I live my life the way I see it. In the moment, it's difficult. But every day of doing the same thing, every day of standing up and saying, no, I can't do this. Or sometimes be sober with yourself also, because there's certain expectations society places on you. Because Ivy talks a lot, I think maybe she should be the president of the debate club. No, I don't like to talk a lot. I only talk a lot because in this moment today, I feel like offering an opinion. But that's not me every day. So it's a journey that, you know, these days I see the phrase, be true to yourself, thrown around a lot. And I wonder, do you really know what that means? You know, it means saying no when everybody's saying yes. It means people looking down on you when you thought they would clap for you. It's a whole lot of things. And bringing it back to where I am now, yes, I went through school, finally did marketing, completed my master's in marketing, because I just realized, Ivy, marketing is your thing. So if it's your thing, be skillful at it. So that it kind of gives me the confidence to stand before you and tell you, this is the best marketing plan. Or no, you're missing it here. Because I've got backing in a skill that I genuinely feel I was born to do.
There's a book called by Sir Ken Robinson. It's called Finding Your Element.
I haven't read it. You should share.
Yeah, it's a really good book. I think it talks about society not pushing people all in the same direction. I think that analogy of like a fish can't climb a tree.
It's the wrong test. It's the wrong test. Why are we letting fish climb trees? Let them swim and everybody gets impressed. Yeah, true. Agree.
Of course. So I think that's what should be encouraged. I think the world where it has reached now, I think that is being encouraged more because you've been through that experience. So I'm sure you won't force your kids to...
I'll be honest.
I don't know.
I fell into the trap of forcing my kids to be a certain way because I've got 3 kids. And then the first 2 are girls. And they're so different. The first one doesn't talk. She does talk, but... she's very forceful when she talks. And what she likes, I can see, is knitting, of all things. Like, her safe space should be there, knitting.
Really?
Yes, she loves to knit.
But who bought the...
It was me. Because I saw. okay, maybe let me get her this for her birthday.
Yeah.
And she knits the scarves and she does all these little bags and whatnot. She's 13. But I notice when it comes to books, she's into science, she's into math. And for me, that doesn't make sense. Because if you knit, you should like English, literature or something like that. But no, not Olivia. Then the second one is so quiet. If you don't check on her, you won't know she's in the room.
Yeah.
And very smart kid. For her, she's into, again, science, math, all things that require her to. But when it comes to reading, she's just like, Mommy, it's not my thing. So I started forcing them. No, you need to be a doctor. You need to do this. Yeah. And something just clicked that's hypocritical. This is the same thing you've always wanted to break away from. And here you are forcing the kids. So what I do now is just guide them cautiously. Because as a parent, you want the best for your kids. Yeah. I don't know that those kids have the grit that I had to go through all these things. I don't know. Yeah. So the best is just, guys, be a doctor, be a something. Hypocritical, I know, but this is where I am. As a parent, I try to not force them to do things, but it is what it is. I struggle with it. Yeah. Yeah. The world is harsh.
I think the fear for, well, I'm not a parent yet, but I think it's the fear of trying to make sure that they go in a safe pathway, which is already known. Because when you say if they study to be a doctor, you already know that, okay, there's a job guaranteed somewhere. But now someone is knitting, like,
where do I take you with your knitting? It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed that you
But funny story, I know I'm veering off, but I'll make a point. My second daughter last week was like, Mommy, what is the biggest school in Zambia? I said, I don't know. She's 10. I said, I don't know. You don't know? I said, no, I don't. Okay. You know, I want to be a teacher. I said, you can't do teaching? With all your smarts, we can't do teaching. No, Mommy, that's what I like. That's what I like. But I want a school. I want to teach. When I become a teacher, I have a school, but my school will be for autistic kids. I said, okay, really? That's cool.
For a 10-year-old?
For a 10-year-old, because she likes documentaries. I see her watch documentaries. So even when you give her phone, give her my phone, she's always on documentaries. And the latest I've noticed is she's been watching autistic kids and all these things. So when she said that, I was like, here we are. In our heads, teaching is at a government school, at a rural place. But her little mind, which doesn't have any boundaries, for her, it's teaching so that I can sort out this and make kids who have this issue feel comfortable, but still have education. Yeah. I think for me, yes, you can guide the kids, guide them where they need to go, but know that how you're thinking of a situation is not how they're thinking of the situation. So let us be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key word is guide, but don't be attached to
I am struggling with
to where they're going to end up.
I'm struggling. Now I understand my parents. Now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You never understood them.
No, I never understood them.
Yeah.
I can't calculate, please, but... Yeah. Now I see. I get it.
No, you leave it in the Lord's hand.
Yeah.
Lord, guide my children.
Papa.
Yeah. Throughout your career, of course, you have a vast, over 16 years of experience.
Yes.
What are some of the values that you've carried?
Never compromise your opinion. I like the space I'm in right now. The space I'm in, and God has a way of leading people. The space I'm in, you won't believe it, allows me to be who you are. I laughed the first time I went in the marketing meeting and I wanted to be all banky and provide the banky solution. And my boss just looked at me and said, you know, we hired you to be different, right? I said, huh? No, we hired you to be different. We wanted your thinking, as raw as it is, to come into this marketing space. And that made me free, because now I no longer look at the situation to say, oh, what would a marketer in a banking space do? No, I look at it to say, okay, is my mother at home able to use banking services without feeling intimidated? That's a whole different thing. So what have I carried into my career journey is never compromise your opinion. Your opinion is there's a customer who resonates with it outside. Don't compromise. Don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Yeah. Say it the way you're experiencing it. The great innovations we have in this world have not come because I've consulted Hamwaka. They've come because of a crazy thought at 02. Yeah. You know, why are we calling it this? Why can't we call it this? Please do not change your mind. Go back the next day and tell them, I've had a thought. Let's change this campaign title to this. That's it. Yeah. That's one of the things I don't like to compromise on, my opinion. And then secondly, also work hard. this world is harsh. And it only respects people that work hard. You can have all the dreams that you have, but if you don't work hard enough, nothing materializes. Nothing. So that's one of the values. The third value that I've always carried is value the opinion also of others. You're not always right. And I feel that marketers, we fall into this trap because we feel, oh, I went to school and understood the consumer black box. You know?
Yeah.
Because there's a thing in marketing called the
that's
consumer
it.
black
Yeah.
box. And in your mind, you're like, I did it. I can tell you what to do. In this situation, do this, do that. Understand context. And then ask somebody else, what do you think? What they think will always, like 80% of the time, make your idea even better. So those are the three things. Never compromise your opinion. Work hard. On top of working hard, listen from others. Just always listen.
What results have you seen by practicing that?
A lot. I once worked in a funeral home. I was selling funeral insurance. When I went in that space, I was the assistant sales manager. I was doing marketing for so long, and then I thought, you know what? I've never done sales. I saw a job in the paper. I was like, at that time it was the Post newspaper. I said, let me apply for this job. Yes, it's a sales manager role, but let me apply for it. I did it. I don't know what drugs I was on that day that made me move from marketing to sales. Because I was always like, I can sell this thing. I'll sell. Applied for it, and it turned out to be a funeral home where they sell funeral insurance. They were looking for a head of sales, and they told me, we liked you in the interview, but Ivy, you've got no sales experience. If you want to work for us, we can make you the assistant sales manager. I was like, okay, that's okay. That's fine. We'll try it. Jumped into the thing and told my mom I'm doing funeral insurance.
Yeah, our parents.
I said, I think this will be fun. I haven't met anybody who does it. I will love this. The first 3 months was tough. I served under a very great boss. I'd like to do a shout out, but I don't know whether it's allowed. But
No, it's fine.
yes, Nelson Peary. Nelson Peary was everything I know about sales was from Nelson. And in the first 3 months, it was tough because nobody wanted to sign up for funeral insurance. They would always make fun of us and say, well, it's shameful. But then through the many interactions I would have with people, making them realize if you have a baby, you plan. You do know you will die, so why not plan for it? No, from family to adikatishanya, what. And I always tell them, you are alive now, you're seeing that now. But when you're gone, the narrative changes. And so normally when I would, leaning on my talking a lot abilities, I would always see because it was always decision makers, the elders, you could see on their faces that, okay, this youngster is saying something sensible. And that's where I had the biggest deals. I'm not allowed to mention, but I'm no longer there, but the deals are still going on. So that made me apply for that, and I enjoyed it. I went on to become the head of sales after my boss left. So that's the longest I'd spent at any working place. I was there for 5 years. And that experience keeps me just going. And I always make people laugh to say, there's nothing you can't tell me. I've sold death for 5 years. And I was very good at it, by the way. The records are there to show. So what can you tell me that I can't do? I'm very cocky sometimes, but it's with good reason. To have a marketer that sells a funeral policy is not the easiest. So
especially
in our
culture and our culture.
In Zambia, you can't talk about sex freely. You can't talk about death freely. The only thing that we can talk about freely is, oh no, I went to a papa. The context is bigger than that in Zambia. We have to talk there's no taboo topics. And for every taboo topic, there's a marketing response and there's a sales response. You just have to decide, am I the strong one to take this or not? And that's it. So those three things have really changed who I am. And in this space, every time, even if it was funeral insurance, I would always be honest with my friends. I would always tell them, this is what I do. I sell funeral insurance. This is how it works. The first times it's always like, but we've always known you're different, but not like this. But it's do it. Every space needs you.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Of course. Also, don't never let the ideas of other people influence you as much.
No, use them as a learning platform if you have to, but your opinion is your opinion. Your take on life will always be different. Let's hear it. Even if nobody claps for it in the room, you will sleep better. You won't be like, yeah, I wish I said that.
Yeah.
I wish I did it. You always sleep better. And for me, then you would have been true to who you were meant to be. That's it. In this world of AI, everybody is gunning towards perfection and whatnot, because AI is very smart.
Yeah.
But what I can see is that the people that will stand out the most are the ones that are authentic. You can have your AI copy. You can have, AI, show me what I should do in the boardroom because I'm going to do this and that. But the other person that comes in authentic from their own mind is the one that will stand out. Because all of you are being led by machines. But nobody's being led by intuition. Nobody's being led by human connection. Nobody's being led by understanding, empathy. So for me, always be yourself. Just stand out. Whether we clap or we don't, just make this world colorful.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's you at the end of the day. If someone
Like I
discourages
say,
you
you will
from,
sleep better.
like, it's embarrassing. For example, like funeral insurance. It's like, people will think
was
that's
embarrassing.
how can you have that job? But at the end of the day, it's you who's going to have to put a meal on your table. But what if someone discourages you from pursuing that, and then you're suffering in the background just because you want to please other
this
people?
This thing we have of it's embarrassing, maybe because I'm the firstborn. To me, the default setting is if it makes sense to me, that's what we're doing. I know that that's not other people's lenses, but trust me when I say it's okay. Whether it's embarrassing or not, it's who you are. Unless you're embarrassed to be you, that's a whole different conversation. But if you have to put a meal on the table, if you have to sleep better, if I walk in the room and you're like, Ivy, that's really cool, and I got that because I was selling funeral insurance, that's fine. How you think of me is on you.
Yeah.
The thing is, let's critique what Ivy brings to the table. And if you appreciate what Ivy brings to the table, you have to appreciate that some of it comes from her 5 years of experience in the funeral industry. Yeah. This thing of ukula mfwenso ni shani. No. Chive shani. Okay, then what?
Yeah, then what?
Be yourself.
Yeah. I think for me, when I feel discouraged or I feel like I'm taking a path which most people are not taking, sometimes I tell myself to say, like, people die, like they haven't done anything.
Yes.
And when people die, we forget about them. Like,
and there's no history to talk about. We have to start looking around. No, Ivy was a good person. Just be, so that we don't have to look around. We just pick and eulogize you, you know?
You're someone who's sharing content. I mean, you have all this experience. I'm sure you're comfortable how you're living your life and whatnot. But
not
why?
Really. I never get comfortable.
Okay. I know you're going to start defending yourself. Accept it, Ivy. Accept the flowers.
African homes. We're never taught to accept our flowers. Never. You
like
know, it's just, you're supposed to be very humble. No, I know, but just say thank you, you know? Yeah. So anyway, yes, to some extent, yes.
To some extent, of course. But what makes you want to still share content and share your knowledge to other people? Because
I was in a space where I wanted to have a big sister or a big brother of sorts, and I couldn't find it. I just couldn't. I once worked in an IT company, and I was the marketing manager there. I had no idea of how to go about it. And for me, in that space, I just felt like, okay, why can't I get this marketing correct? And there was no one to just show me, or maybe I didn't look hard enough. There was just nothing I could find. So for me, I always believe in, when you've gone through the journey, you've come back with your lessons, share so that the world is better. Okay, what will you do with all the lessons that you have? Just tell me that. What will you do? No, you share. And that's what inspires me. I like to just share. And then I use it sometimes as a temperature to gauge where my mind is at. If I share something and I see a controversial thought or something different, I love it, because then I'm like, okay, this guy thinks like this. It gives me another moment to learn and research and just see whether my thought was the best or not. Not that it's always a competition, but it's just good at any one time to have sound knowledge. So what inspires me is just the capacity to be able to share so that somebody else learns from my journey. I love that. I get happy. Like you said, when you gather, when you fatten yourself with knowledge, of course, at some point you need to share it with other people. Especially in the marketing space. I feel like our marketing space is really lacking. accountants are good at it. Have you noticed most accountants who have gained much experience, they'll set up an audit firm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many marketers do you know set up their own thing?
Yeah, there are very few.
We leave it to comedians. Why?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we confuse guys who are into graphics, you know, guys like yourselves who are creatives and whatnot. We leave it to them. But we don't understand you have your own mandate.
Yeah.
There's a way you want to see creative work come alive. Still, there's no space for the marketer. There are very few daring marketers out there. I think this is what makes me sometimes write about Tamanga Culture. I did it on purpose. Because I see a lot of marketers that want to bring their essay thinking, nothing wrong, or their American thinking into the Zambian context. And I just feel, bad choice. You've just missed everything. Zambia is a unique place. Zambia requires a Zambian marketing person. It doesn't require an American person to come and teach us marketing. We've been doing marketing for the longest time.
Yeah.
We know the idea of Mbasela. We know the idea of Takutiole Lako Mitengo. And that's why I just did it on purpose. Tamanga Culture for me is something that I thought, what is to Tamanga, you know, in the context, is a hustler, right? Somebody who's trying to make things work for them in the business world. You look at Zambia, over 80% of our businesses are SMEs. So for me, I thought, okay, Tamanga Culture, let me see how I can adapt my marketing learnings into the space that we are in as Zambians, so that even you, other than this, there's something else that you do. There's something else, even me as Ivy, I have a full-time job, but there's something else I do on the side. How can I market it so that it's the best solution that Zambia has ever heard of it? Hence, Tamanga Culture. I want to give you ideas that are specific to your context, ideas that make you think, there's a better way I should be marketing my cake business, other than just flooding people with cake pictures in WhatsApp.
On your status.
Yes, on your status. No, there's a better way you can do it. So that's what inspires me. The fact that we can learn the craft of marketing, but then be able to translate it in the Zambian context, because Zambia needs Zambian solutions.
There are so few examples out there. I think that's why it's important that we share our knowledge more as Zambians,
please.
as Africans.
Yes.
All of the content that we have is mostly Western.
Yes.
We are influenced by Western culture.
Even our own history has to be written by a white man. There's a book I came across the other time, and he was talking about the journey of Salaula in Zambia. And I said, but a Zambian can't write a book about Salaula. And he's packaged it nicely and selling it on Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm like, this could have been Ivy Muswenyesa, who could have packaged the idea of Salaula, you know? But we are people who talk a lot and don't do a lot. And then the wisdom we have, I feel like sometimes we die with it.
Yeah.
Growing up, quite with Tushimi, you know what I mean?
Tushimi, yeah.
For those that don't know, Tushimi is stories, folklore, which have like a lesson that you can teach at the end of it. Why are most of our Tushimis just with our grandparents? No,
Yeah,
they should be on a YouTube file somewhere where our kids later on can come through and refer to. So yeah, that's why I share on as many platforms as I can, so that one day somebody will find it useful.
Over the 16 years that you've been working, and how do you think the Zambian marketing landscape has changed?
Oh, it has changed. It has so changed. Remember those days, for you to be called a marketer, you should have had a jingle on radio. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you need to have a song. So now everybody was singing. And that used to annoy me so much.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, everything. It's not everything that you should be singing about. The decision to sell a car is much more complex than the decision to sell ice cream.
Yeah.
So you can have a jingle for ice cream. You can't have a jingle for electric vehicles. Because the buying decision is much more rational. Appeal to my rational mind. Don't tell me, irrational morality. It does this. I won't take you serious. So how has the marketing landscape changed? It has changed because I've realized and this is what we should understand. The consumer grows faster than the marketing responses. You ever noticed that? TikTok started right after, in Zambia. It got very, very well known during the pandemic. You know? Yes. Everybody had TikTok. Before the companies woke up to the fact that, you know what, attention spans are reducing, your clientele is becoming younger and younger, because people like you are getting exposed to more income than you would have 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So how do we market a banking product for you now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People would have, the consumer moves faster than the solution moves. By the time boardrooms are realizing we need to be on TikTok so that we can catch Hamwaka.
Yeah.
Hamwaka would have moved on to something else totally.
Yeah.
And this is just where the problem is. Zambians have moved on, but companies, we're doing better now. Companies are finding it a bit hard to adjust. You're busy arguing, can our brand be on TikTok? No, I think it's... You're forgetting that there's a Hamwaka who's holding millions of kwachas and can't be found on traditional media. But Hamwaka is found on TikTok. Remember the newspaper? No, Hamwaka does it. He's on podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, he's on some digital app somewhere. Find him there. So marketing has improved. There's a lot we need to do. We've moved on from jingles. It's really, really evolved. The consumer is moving faster than the companies are able to catch on.
Yeah.
And that's why marketing needs you. Remember what I said? Ask people for their feedback. It's very important. So if most of these Zambian companies would just come onto the digital platforms and just be vulnerable with us and tell us, what are the 3 things we're not doing that you think we should do better? Leave it there. I tried it once. I worked for a Zambian company and we always used to receive so many complaints about our products. And so one of my friends goes, you know what we should do, Ivy? We should do... He's now a friend. Those days we were working with him. He says, Ivy, we should do a mystery shopper exercise. I said, yes, let's do it. But how are we going to get there? And because he's younger than me, he just said, but on the same Facebook. Just ask them a question. I said, who? Where's the brand going to go? There will be some... And he just looked at me and said, so what's the worst that can happen? You'll get your customers, give you your feedback, and then you improve on the product. I swear when I did that, that brand became much more responsive. And even the products we started churning out became better. And even the sales revenue we saw became better. Why? Just because we took a chance on social media and did a mystery shopper exercise. And that was it. That was it. We just asked them and said, oh, guys, would you like to come to our stores and just help us sort out the issue with bad customer service? The number of people that emailed us and sent us messages. And when they came through on that day, because we did a meeting for them, when they came through, there were so many and different age groups. And I just loved it because up until then in my career, I hadn't yet been so daring. And when they came through, we equipped them with the tools. They went, got us so much information that would have paid thousands of kwacha for a research company to do. But we did it from our customers' perspective, from people that were following us on social media. So when you ask me and say, how has marketing changed? Or maybe how has Zambia changed in terms of the marketing landscape? People are more daring. They are more receptive to digital channels such that their minds are no longer thinking Zambia, they're thinking global. So you serve a Zambian person here, you would have served the global space as well. Because that same person will go in South Africa one day and they'll come with that mentality to say, listen, products should not be like this. If back home we could get it correct, why can't this space get it? So yeah, marketing, long story short, marketing has evolved. We're no longer into newspapers and whatnot. We are more digital and consumers are more, what can I say? They are more obsessed with value. There's no way I'll come here and sell you something at 3,000 kwacha, which should be at 1,000 kwacha. You refuse. You know, so marketing people need to just adjust at the same level that their consumers are adjusting. We're being influenced by digital trends these days. Get ready with me as I take you around, you know? And then here you are as a marketer trying to show us on Facebook that, oh, this app will do this for you, do this for you. No, market it and tell us, oh, get ready with me as I go and withdraw my salary from the ATM. That will be more interesting, you know? So let's change as marketers at the same level that consumers are changing. Then we become a much more forward-thinking community. And economy.
Don't you think though, like sometimes companies maybe have to approve budget or something like that, that whole process? Don't you think it's also an obstacle?
It is a huge obstacle, but as a marketer, you are taught to think with a big budget and with a small budget. That's why you have, at any one time, you have at your exposure more than one tool to achieve something. And if you're a marketer coming up to a space to face a challenge with only one tool, then you're done for. You always need to think, okay, this wish list that I always have, I have an approach to campaigns. I have the wish list, and then I have the normal list, which is just let's bells and whistles. At any one time, I will present the wish list. I swear to you, I will present the wish list. And sometimes people I've worked with will be like, but Ivy, you even know. No, it's not that I even know. Suppose my boss is in a good mood that day.
Yeah.
Thank you. So always have a wish list, then come back with a normal one. So budgets will always be there. Times are tough for not only consumers as well as individuals, but also for organizations. So if your boss says you can't do X amount because it costs this much, come back with an alternative. Okay, so I know this might not work because of the big budget, but can we look at it from this angle and this angle? And you gain respect. You gain respect among your equals because you understand at any one time that revenue is not just revenue to be spent, but it's revenue to be invested as well.
What does it take to build trust with your audience or customers?
A lot. But one of the main things I've noticed is be vulnerable with your customers. Just be vulnerable. To be vulnerable doesn't mean you show your weaknesses without intent. Show your weaknesses, but you have a goal in the end. We're a Zambian company. I know you guys don't trust Zambians already, but you know what? Just test what I have on the table. You're being vulnerable because I could come back and say, this meat is too salty. It's okay. I'm ticking the box. Okay, next time we have to reduce on the spices. This meat is too hard. Okay, maybe next time I have to use different meat. You know what? This meat is okay. Then the person that says okay, check them. Profile them. If it's Ivy from Mrs., then you know, I have two options. Ivy from Mrs. likes it like this, but Ivy from Kablanga likes it this way. That way you would have gotten two forms of possible product innovation. You know that Kablanga people will like this particular product and Mrs. people would like this particular product. Where did it come from? From an open conversation. That's the only way you can build trust with your customers. Be vulnerable. But that vulnerable, just don't be vulnerable for the sake of being vulnerable. Have intent. At the end of the day, if I tell you how I make my product, I just want to get proper feedback from you. I'm not just telling you to tell you, then what? We're a business. Everything has to have intent. So for me, being vulnerable with your customers is one of the best ways to build trust. For
someone who wants to grow their brand or company, since you've highlighted that it's very competitive now, like things are moving very fast, what advice would you give them if they want to grow their brand?
I think I spoke to it earlier when I said be the realest person in the room. Don't be the most AI researched person. Be real. Because competitiveness comes from being just yourself. Being real. Nobody will ever beat Mwaka at being Mwaka. Nobody. They can get your style, this nice setup we have in here, but they will just never be Mwaka. And if only we understood in this economy, or is it in this space which is so Instagram perfect, to say the beauty of a person, the competitiveness of an individual is how different they are from the rest, then we start winning. Look at Nigerians, how they've changed the space of entertainment. And then look at us. We are making our strides, but we are more about copying the American type of talking and even acting and whatnot. Compare it to Nigerians. Nigerians are so raw. You either like them or you don't. And when they come to a space, they give it 100%. Be authentic. This is what I'm trying to say. Yes, the Nollywood movies, we laugh at them and say, no, they even put tomato sauce here. It didn't even look like blood.
But we used to watch it.
And it would be fun. Yes. But you as a Zambian, have you created the real blood in your movie so that we get confused by it? No, you haven't. So I think for you to stand out, to build a brand, be authentic and be yourself. And always understand that at any one time, I am the best Mwaka there will ever be. Even if I were to die today, there will never be another Mwaka that comes along. It's the same thing with the Nigerian. They have the guts to go to America and introduce Afrobeats. The whole America is driving to Afrobeats and whatnot. And these are things, authenticity has got real export value. It really, really does. Just put your head down. Do the best you can. Before you know it, you become somebody. Trevor Noah. Look at, we've got examples around us, but we don't want today. Trevor, what's special about Trevor Noah? Other than the fact that he does different accents and he's got a clued-on mind and he's not ashamed of his experiences. Whoever knew Trevor Noah would go and host the Daily Show? Nobody. There are smarter, sharper people than Trevor Noah in South Africa. But because he took on all his experiences, brought them to the table and said, this is me, the whole world is clapping and, oh, Trevor is smart. Trevor is only smart because he tapped into being original. He tapped into his experiences. But it annoys me these days that you see even in the corporate spaces, we want to be like the next person.
Yeah.
You are as individual as your voice, as your fingernail. Can you please come out like that? Just be yourself. If you were to even ask me that question and say what annoys you about Zambia, I would have said justice. We're not willing to embrace who we are. Embrace who you are. If you're Ivy, you've sold funeral insurance, don't hide it. Put it on the CV very well. And tell them to say, oh, because I'm a marketer that has studied the craft, I can work in any industry that you put me in.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I once worked at a funeral home. Why? Why are you being apologetic by it? You've learned things, haven't you? Bring them to the table.
Ivy, so this is called Do It. Here we don't just talk. For this one, I made it very special. So I went through your LinkedIn, of course, and I noticed that you talked about
I'm getting nervous because some of those posts, I write them after being irritated.
Yeah.
So I've just written something and forgotten about it. Okay,
yeah,
yes.
Of course, this is from experience. I noticed that you talk a lot about Tamanga culture. And there's this one post which caught my attention, Tamanga culture, client relationships. So I'm going to read some of those quotes and you just give an explanation to what your thoughts were or your insights were on that one. So now, what inspired you to write about Tamanga culture and call it Tamanga culture?
We're always Tamangaling in Zambia, and it is a culture. I think I did speak about it earlier, maybe not too clearly, when I said 80% of Zambian businesses are SMEs. When you explain what an SME is, it's just a hustler. Who's a hustler? He's a Tamanga in our community. I wanted to speak to somebody in such a way that is very relatable. That's what inspires me to write about Tamanga culture. Client relationships, I think as Zambians, we're terrible at our relationships. We are just terrible at our relationships. And we take that being terrible at personal relationships into the workspace. Because you've been given a job, doesn't mean you don't have anything to do with client relationship building. You have to build the relationship. If you're sorry, you messed up, can you say so? If you feel the customer is asking for more than it's worth it, package it nicely and let them know. Because a customer is just you, only that the roles are reversed. They have the money at that point and they're buying your product. That same thing can change in the next few days. You will now be the one with the money and become the client. Hamwaka. You know what I mean? So I feel like we need to do a better job at relationships. Yes. We just need to.
Yeah.
It saves you a lot of money. Advertising, what, No. I'll give you an example. When I was at the funeral home where I was selling funeral insurance, one of the best campaigns we came up with my boss was Tell a Friend. Because we were not allowed to advertise. Because, it's taboo. And the owner of the funeral home was very religious and felt that these are not services you market. These are services that I want them to grow, but I don't want you to advertise. So I went to my boss, I was like, how do we do this? And he said, Ivy, it's simple. Referrals. We've got a few clients that are using our products. Some of them even have had funerals, and we've made sure that we've lived up to the end of our bargain. Go to that person, ask them, don't you know 2 or 3 people that could be happy with this product? And that's how it grew. And up to now, because I still have friends there, up to now, that campaign is still used. And it's one of the most profitable campaigns. Because Zambia, we like to, this is our mom. No, just buy it's a referral culture. So for a marketer to come into a space and not give referral campaigns their time, I think you would be doing yourself a disservice. Yeah. So that's where that came from.
Now, let's unpack a few statements that you made. So the first one is, don't be scared or ashamed to ask for business.
That verbatim came from my boss, who I had, again, like I said. He always used to say, Ivy, if you're ashamed, because I fell into the trap. I was like, how do I tell my friends I'm into this thing, you know? And he just told me, Ivy, if you're ever scared to open your mouth and say, guys, I'm not doing well, you will die and the solution is next to you. Same thing in business. Never be ashamed to ask for the business. Never. Walk into a space, of course, talk to them and whatnot. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I sell funeral insurance. Watch for their reaction and come up and say, you know what? It's one of the best products we have in Zambia because it does this, it does that. And I think, where do you work? No, I work for Fuebe General Dealers. You've got X number of employees. When they have issue, what do? Ask leading questions that make people understand. So never be ashamed to ask for the business. Guys, I need help to manage my targets, and this is important for me to sell. They might not buy, but they will know somebody who can buy. So never be ashamed. Money doesn't come to those that are ashamed. Money comes to those that are working for it.
Yeah.
Yes. I can sell my malasha here, dress up the next day and smell nice and whatnot. We're having coffee. You will never know where my money came from. So why would you be ashamed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A customer complaint is never an attack.
No, it's not. No. And I feel like marketers, sometimes we are terrible at receiving feedback, because in our own little spaces, on our own little desks, we came up with a 100% perfect campaign. And then you test it out in the real world and just realize, okay, this was good according to me, but not according to the customer. So if I complain, never take... You haven't seen eating places in Zambia. If you just complain and say, I want a thick milkshake, tell them I want a thick milkshake. They bring you a light milkshake. They go back irritated. It's my money.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it's my preference. If I said I wanted a thick milkshake and you're not able to, you should have said, no, madam, we're not able to. I would have changed my mind. But for you to take it like it's an attack on your service, that is wrong. Those are the businesses that don't do so well. Difference. Look at a Rwandese person. In our communities, we've got Rwandese shops. In the morning, you go open, they open very early at 6 hours. You need bread. And you tell that Rwandese, bread yan yoko, sorry. No, we'll make sure we give you a better one tomorrow. 2-3 weeks from there, you will see a whole big truck of bread coming and offloading at that same little shop. The Rwandese didn't take it as an attack. They saw it as an opportunity to make you even more happy. I don't know why in Zambia we think customer complaints are attacks. They are not. They're a moment for you to restructure. They're a moment for you to improve. So yeah.
I like the example of the Rwandese. Like they're very early in the morning because they know that people are buying things early in the morning. People that are going to school.
And they close late too.
Yeah, and they close late too.
Yes.
But look at something run by Zambia. It's like...
you won't even want to work on Saturday. I'm like, are you serious? You're the boss of your own company and you're not working on Saturday. How? So
avoid the trap of selecting who gets the spa treatment in customer service and who doesn't.
Yes. That came from a nail salon I visited, and I'd always envied nails from one of my colleagues. I was like, these nails are done nice. And she gives me the number. You know how girls are. She gives me the number. I go there, and at any one time, I'm a jeans t-shirt person, and I will not go with my Brazilians and whatnot. I'm going to do my nails. I wear the most comfortable thing. And so because of that, a lot of people get to decide how they treat you, because they are thinking, but when Andram, this is the day of slay queens. So they will slay every chance they slay. No hate, slay away. But to the business owner, a customer is a customer, whether you're a slay queen or not. So I hated the way she did my nails, and she was so rough while doing them. But and she forgot that this customer that comes in could have gotten your number from somebody. You don't advertise. You're not on billboards. How are you thinking customers are walking in? It's referrals. So I noticed, because my friend is normally on the app more, on the very well bougie dressed chat. So she always gets the spa treatment. For me, it was just, and I just thought to myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. And you lose out a lifetime of money from a person and referrals from a person, all because you thought, Mwaka is the bushy person. Let me appeal to this person. And that's what kills Tamanga culture. The minute we start selecting, select the kwacha, never the face. Money is the same. The face will be different. But what needs to happen is you should always have a standard service that you give. Give everybody bad service, okay? Or give everybody good service. And because you are in a business environment, you know that you can't give bad service. So just come with your A game all the time.
Never ever get familiar with a client, even if you know each other.
No. That came from me. That came from one of my friends I was working with. Had a friend who had a shop, and that friend needed to buy a gift for her husband because she forgot that it was his birthday. So she needed to make a quick buy and make an impression. And so she went and got certain things from that person. So my friend is a person who likes things that look pretty. And she bought this fancy thingy, hoodie. It was very fancy. And it was in a Rambo plastic. It was delivered to her in a Rambo plastic. You know those big...
Yeah.
And she was livid. How does she do this? And immediately I just said familiarity. If you knew that this was not your friend in the moment, she was a customer, you would have done better. But because I know Mwaka, you are compromising a lot, because then nobody refers anything to you. Nobody even thinks of you. You know, we take for granted who sits at certain tables and who doesn't. She could be your friend, but you don't know that she's coming from an organization that if they need corporate gifts, she can recommend and say, oh, I know this person. But because you've compromised her service, you've compromised the value that she could have gotten, you will never get that chance.
Yeah.
So I feel like Zambian businesses we're so short-sighted. We're so good at taking each other for granted. My packages are here. I can't pass over customer now. My customer now, I haven't paid half price.
Yeah.
I've paid the full price. So give me what the full price value is, just like you will give the next person that you don't know.
All right. So those are the 4 statements. I mean, you've written a lot. It's like it was even hard for me to even
when I
want
was
to
in
leave
school,
out.
guys, I used to like composition. I used to write away all the time. Sorry,
awesome.
bear with me.
And I like this because it's something that you experience. I didn't even know that you experienced this.
Yes, I like to write from a point of experience so that I'm not lying.
Yeah.
I like to write from a point of experience so that you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it.
I'm not very theoretical now.
What do small business owners in Zambia often miss when building their customer experience? I think you've touched.
I think I have, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe just to amplify, what do I feel that they miss out on? They always see themselves as small. No. The minute you step out and sell a product or a service and people pay you for that, don't think you're small. Nobody in this world pays for small things. They only pay for value. They only pay for things that are bigger than them. So I feel like Zambian businesses always see themselves as small. So even as they are providing solutions, it's from a small space. No. Be bold, be brave, be confident. You're doing something great, even if it's just selling eggs outside your yard. How many neighbors do you see are selling those? Very few. So I feel like one thing that they always get wrong is this lens that we operate from, which is very small.
Yeah.
Smallness never gets you anywhere.
I think most people are stuck in Tamanga business. If they've opened a shop, they've had it for 10 years. I mean, they can't scale or go up. What do you think? What advice would you give?
So and I don't know what makes people feel that because it's Tamanga culture, it means that you can't grow. Small businesses should grow into big businesses. Big businesses should grow into conglomerates. Growth. Whenever there's money being shared, there's value being shared. And value shouldn't stay the same. Value should always grow. So one of those things, like I said earlier on, is that mindset, that smallness. Because if you think you're small, you will never even think to say, okay, I have this little shop here. Maybe they need the same in Olympia also.
Yeah.
Because you're always just thinking small. You're just thinking here. Just here. I bake cakes for my friends. I bake cakes for my friends. I bake cakes for my friends and it's 5 years. No. How about you bake cakes for your friends? We have this shop. I think let me move on even in Kitwe. Yeah. There's a lot of Kopala people who hold money there and they like nice things. Let me open a bakery there. Tamanga culture doesn't mean that it should be small. Tamanga culture means you should keep hustling. Because the more that you hustle, the more that you generate. The more that you generate, it is important for you to just make sure that you grow from where you are. So take practical steps and scale. Just scale. Give yourself 3 years. They say, is it after 2 years, a small business, if it wasn't meant to be, will go down? You're in your 3rd year, you haven't gone down. That's your indication to say, okay, I'm doing this now. What's the next best thing I can do? Let me scale.
Yeah.
After another 3 years, you've seen, these 2 businesses are doing, these 2 outlets are doing well. What more can I add to this? Scale, grow. Just keep growing. Just keep growing and growing. Don't ever think Tamanga culture is keeping you small. No, think of it as hustling that's always generating value. And value, it outgrows its container. You know what I mean? Like it's after you've hustled, then what?
Yeah.
Then what? Then hustle some more. And then what? If you're hustling more, that means you should be investing more.
Yeah.
That's how people grow. Stop seeing yourself small and realize that every transaction is a step to your growth. Which that you improve, just grow. If you're in this little space today, the next 2 years, let's see you in another space. Move by 2-year cycles if you have to, or 3-year cycles if you have to. That's it.
That is very insightful. And I like that it's relatable, it's through experience and not just theories. So thank you so much for that. Now it's time for the rapid fire questions. So,
Am I ready?
So one sentence only or one word. Yeah, no paragraphs.
Okay. That would be hard.
Are you going to promise me?
Promise. We promise. Okay.
All right. Favorite marketing campaign you've worked on?
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend campaign.
A book that changed the way you work?
Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek.
I want to dig
See,
into
you
that,
see? And I'm giving you a paragraph. But anyway.
Okay. A brand that you admire in Zambia?
Luwana Meat Products.
Luwana Meat Products. One word to describe your marketing style?
Real.
Real. Can I just add authentic?
Authentic, yes.
Yeah.
It has to be.
All right. Ivy, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was fun. I was scared.
You were scared?
Yes.
How can you be?
I'm just thinking, what is he going to ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun. Thank you so much for not making it sound very interviewee,
Oh, yeah.
It was just like a chat. I loved it. Thank you so much.
I think that's what I
appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Can I ask the podcaster a question?
Of course.
I can. And you need to answer.
I need. Okay.
Why,
let's hear the question first.
Why Ivy? Why did you allow? Why me?
On here.
Yes. Just say it. Why? Like, tell me.
I like your content.
I saw it. I was like, no, it can't just be that.
No.
I saw it. I was like, I took a while to respond. Actually, I was like, no, let me tell him. Let me show him I'm doing something better. Then I thought, why Ivy taken? I picked it up. I was like, okay. I was very impressed.
Yeah. I'm actually the one who was like scared even if you would accept to come.
Well,
I don't know.
Why?
Like
This
your
is
content
fun.
is so
You're doing
your
a
content
great
is,
job.
Your content is so good.
I'm grateful
And the
that you think like
experience.
that, but you're doing a fantastic job. This is
Thank you
nice.
so much.
Yeah. I love it.
I love the authenticity especially. Like your writing, everything is you can tell that this is coming from someone's
somewhere.
experience. This is not ChatGPT and whatnot. This is not AI or from somewhere.
Thank you so much.
I think I think that was the whole
I like
point.
it. I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah.
I was determined. I was like,
I'm the one who wanted to ask you why did you accept?
I like to talk. And I just I think you've seen me react to some of your videos. Yes. Those conversations for me are like, wow, most of the times I'm doing something else as I'm listening. And then when something resonates with me, I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
I like that. Very few content gets me like that. So that's why I accepted. I said, okay, this is good. This guy is Mr. Do It. I used to call you Mr.
Mr. Do It.
Is doing something good.
No, thank you so much. I really
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's do it. Okay, one last thing. Where can people find you online?
I'm lazy on Facebook, but you can find me there. I'm on Instagram. I don't know why I'm there because the last time I updated was 1 year ago. But usually I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
I'm a serious person, people.
Yeah, on LinkedIn. Yeah. I think LinkedIn is
usually
the best place.
LinkedIn is the best place. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Anything that you're working on that you'd like to share, or you'd rather keep it in the wraps?
So no, not really. So I'm working on Dear Zambian Marketer. That will be the next part of my series. I only feel like the first part I was talking about the lessons that I have learned, but Dear Zambian Marketer is specific advice for marketing people in Zambia. And I feel that there will be hardcore truths that we need to hear as marketers, coming with lots of love from another marketer. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. No, I'm
I should have
excited.
been recording last week, but I was busy. I'll record 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm working on.
We're excited to see the content.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, Ivy, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's a wrap.
Do I write on here?
Yes.
Yes.